What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so before I get into this particular video, I want to give a shout out to a couple of subscribers for showing love. Much respect to the man, the myth, the legend, the brother Robert Mason, coming through once again with the donation to the channel via the PayPal. Alright, long time Golden State Warriors fan and big Jordan Poole fan. And I see, you said you haven't given up on him, man. I hope you're right. Maybe it's just one of those phases he got to go through. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's one of these dudes like, similar to Ja Morant, where he's not used to being in a certain position with women and status and, may have been seen as a cornball. So he's kind of living his life in an exorbitant, extravagant manner, becoming the ace of avarice right now. But $500,000 on a date, bro, nah, that ain't cool. But much respect to you for showing love to the channel. Also want to give a shout out to the brother Ill Will for the $15 donation via the Cash App. Long-time subscriber as well. Much respect to you for showing love to this channel. So today, and I wasn't aware of this, today is the 19th anniversary of what is, in my humble opinion, the greatest buzzer beater in the history of the NBA. And I'm talking about Derek Fisher's buzzer beater with .4 seconds remaining on the clock. It wasn't just that he made what was a heave. He didn't really have time to really look at the basket and square up like normal. He had to heave. And when he shot, well, I tell you what, my memories of it was that Kobe, with 11 seconds to go, made a go-ahead basket. I think that put, let me get my scoring, my bearings right. I think that put them up 72-71, if my memory is serving. I think it's right. 72-71. Kobe had a go-ahead basket with 11 seconds to go. And I said to myself, God damn it, he did it again. Because I was openly rooting against the Lakers. I hated the Lakers at the time. I was rooting for the Spurs, because my team wasn't shit at the time. We were the baby Bulls. And at that time, the Spurs had won the first two games of the series, but the Lakers had came back to win the next two games of that series at L.A. Because I'm mistaken, I think Spurs had home court advantage. They were also the defending NBA champions. Now, this is the conference semifinals. And what some people saw as the real conference finals, that the winner of this series would go on to represent the West. The Lakers would go on to play Minnesota, but many people saw that series as the real conference finals. So Lakers had went on to win the next two games at home. So Game 5 was at San Antonio. And Tim Duncan, with .4 seconds remaining, hit a falling away, off-balance, fadeaway jumper while being heavily guarded by Shaq, okay? Heavily guarded by Shaq near the three-point line, and Kobe coming over to help. He made the most improbable shot that you would ever imagine. That would have been an all-time great buzzer beater in itself. And that put them up 73-72. .4 seconds remaining. And anybody watching the game thought it was over. I thought it was over. I was cheering. I was saying, yes, fuck the Lakers. Fuck the Lakers. Fuck Phil Jackson, you turncoat bitch. Because I didn't like the fact that he went and coached the Lakers. I saw Phil Jackson as a bull, because he coached the Bulls. Now, of course, at the time I was a young lad of 23, not as mature as I am, and I'm still not that damn mature. But I said to myself that they can't get a shot off. I mean, because the prevailing wisdom was that it took something like 0.8 seconds or 0.8 of a second just to get a shot off. So with 0.4 of a second left, I was thinking, well, what can they really do? A lob with Tim Duncan down low, that's not going to be an easy task. Shot blocker, a great defensive player. So, and with all those guys on the floor at that time, you had, that was the Laker team that had Shaq and Kobe, although they were near the end of their run together. And by that time, the dynamic had shifted, so Kobe was the more dominant offensive player. Shaq was starting his downward descent, but still was a hell of a player. Then, of course, they had Karl Malone, who was in his final games as an NBA player, a shell of himself. Gary Payton starting to become a shell of himself, but still star power. And then on the other end, you had Tim Duncan, of course. This was the first year after David Robinson retired. Then you had Ginobili. You had a young Tony Parker. They had star power. So for this guy, Derek Fisher, he gets the inbound, and I'm thinking, well, he can't get a shot off in 0.4 seconds. He throws up a fading, heave. It's a shot, but it's a heave, but it actually looked good, like when he released it. And when he released it, and I saw how he released it, and I said, wait a minute, that actually doesn't look like a bad shot for a split second. I said, that can't go in, though. And I saw that he got it off. Now, all of this is happening in 0.4 of a second. The same amount of time I think it takes for a pitcher's pitch to leave the mound and get to the batter's box. And it goes in. It goes in, and I'm in disbelief. Total disbelief. And then I'm pissed because they all instinctively, well, Derek Fisher first, he runs off the court. And then they all ran off the court. And I think they did that because they didn't want that shit reviewed. And if everybody's off the floor, then the game is over, more or less, right? San Antonio, the crowd is stunned. The players are devastated. Because what would have been a 3-2 lead for the Spurs, which looked like a surefire 3-2 lead, all of a sudden turns into a half a second, turns into a 3-2 deficit. And then to me, I think that just destroyed them psychologically, the Spurs. It destroyed them. So, Game 6 was in Los Angeles, and they lost 88-76. And Tim Duncan did not have a good game. Tony Parker had a horrible game. Ginobili didn't shoot well in that game. I think Hedo Turkoglu was in that game, and I'm looking now. Let me see. Look. Yeah, they shot terrible. Turkoglu didn't score. They were just totally discombobulated. They were just totally destroyed. Kobe had 26 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Shaq had 17 and 19. Gary Payton had 15 points, 7 assists. Karl Malone had 8 points and 3 rebounds. That destroyed them, man. It destroyed them. And to me, it's the greatest buzzer beater in the history of the NBA. Bar none. It's the greatest buzzer beater. But tell me what you guys think. especially those of you who, like me, watched it on that day 19 years ago.